Hello, everyone. I'm here to give a special message, and before I get into the message specifically, I'm going to try extremely. I'm going to try to make sure that anybody that's trying to give me the words to say, other than God Himself or a divine guide, be known. I want that manifestation to be known, so that they don't find themselves continuing down the pathway where they try and brainwash people. What I'm about to talk about is a difficult message to share. One that may not resonate with everyone that has or may see this. But based upon the fact that there have been 49 billion people impacted around the world, there's a pretty large percentile chance that someone you know, even if they don't realize it, has been impacted. So here's what I'm going to share. There are 3 crime organizations. Over the last 8 to 8 years, that have been shut down. Around the world. And they each had a software that they used to manipulate energy fields within our body. I have been calling that the unknown disturbance to the energy field. And I know this because I've been healing it, as I've been called in by God and trying to break myself free of an enslavement that 7 different organizations that took on the scope of work to try and fix the situation by programming, instead of just allowing us to heal as healers. There is one organization that impacted various levels of government. Law enforcement, education programs, and professional organizations, specifically potentially within the entertainment industry. And the manipulations to the energy field hurt around the world directly 16 16,724 people. Indirectly, as a result of it, due to manipulations to beliefs, events that began and ended through those beliefs and emotional pulls and physical damages to their body, impacted 31,424,172 people when they were functioning as a crime organization. Since then, in the try to fix situation without telling people necessarily, because I feel like some people have been told, not all though. They have these organizations that took that on to try and fix the problem. Have added additional energy, created opportunities where people were put in jail for doing things that they never did. There's been people that committed suicide because they were made to believe that they were that horrible. And the manipulations and hate that spread between one person and another in an unnatural way created a viral situation that is difficult to comprehend, difficult to get through. And the brainwashing to try and support someone while they're not knowing exactly what's going on is more damaging than someone being contacted and saying, hey, you've been hurt. We can help. This is what you have available to you. And it's a natural healing energy that will get you through this in ways that you don't understand just yet. The increase in the number of people that have been harmed is over 63% from when the crime organization was functioning. So that's just since it was disbanded. The another organization manipulated people's manifestations also, tried to control economies, tried to manipulate governments in ways that kind of got under the skin and tried to fight and tear down other organizations that they were in competition for. So they felt like they had the right, the authority to be able to do that, but they were mind controlling, they were brainwashing. They were doing triggering pulls to the emotions and the beliefs. And they had an impact for systematic limitations within government bills and changes to those bills that limited economy, created opportunities for market fluctuations that were directly impacted because of the software that this organization used. directly, there are 93 93 different countries that were impacted over the last 23 years with bill changes that limited countries in ways that it impacted their economies, drove businesses to change how they were doing things so that they could actually function, and manipulated stock opportunities because that company, that crime organization, knew where they were directing the flow of money and how they could manipulate economies so they could actually earn from it. If you're a farmer, you'll know it's like cattle being directed through a gate. It's similar. So there was the number of people specifically hurt during the amount of years that they were in operation, emotionally, mentally, physically, through direct connection of this software, were 61,724. The fan out of that is global. In various ways. Number one, the economy, that should be obvious. Number two, interest rates and managing those. One of which was the interest rates that hiked in massive ways in the 80s for different parts of the world. There's some sort of influence to Black Friday. Black Friday, maybe the 80s. Yes, ma'am. That's what I'm hearing. 9/11. Some sort of influence to 9/11 that had some sort of treasury meeting involvement that somehow triggered events that led to 9/11. People have lost their homes. People have been denied mortgages. When they had they checked every box, they were denied mortgages. There is inherent in this software manipulation, there is inherent racial discrimination. There is inherent drives and pulls towards hate crimes and pulls towards peace marches for peace that turn into chaos and destruction. There is pulls within law enforcement and forces where they get caught up in the energy that is there instead of staying calm and focused and how they need to be in order to calm the situation and keep it law abiding. So whether or not you were directly connected to, or you ended up in a situation where things projected out, energy projected out, and you somehow were around someone who was impacted, you may have been impacted indirectly. Since that organization was caught and disbanded, the direct connection to those that were impacted directly and indirectly further expanded the direct connection situation possibility by 35% globally, because they were trying to fix the situation, not the organized crime group, but those that felt they were doing what was best, trying to fix a programmed human energy by programming it some more. The third group, the third software, had an AI base to it in functionality and design. Both it and the first group and the second group create obsession, compulsive situations that drive addiction. Now, that addiction could be various different things. It could be an addiction to being determined enough not to be pulled and feeling like you're backed into a corner. So eventually you lash out. And when you lash out, it's in ways that you would never have done before. It could be attached to energy like generational energy, where there's an addiction to alcohol, gambling, a sexual addiction, addiction to work, addiction to food, addiction to pornography, addiction to anything really, as well as the opposite extreme of that, meaning you're addicted to going into church and confessing and praying, not understanding why you need to do it, but you just feel like you have to. Where it's consumed your day, consumed your every thought, your every being. It could be an obsession with trying to figure out what's happened or why it's happened or why you're feeling this way or why, and there's nothing wrong with that. ever. But you see, here's the thing. Those that are trying to help after those crime organizations were disbanded and dealt with according to the law, the decision was made not to tell people what the plan was. The decision was made to hide the situation because they didn't want to break someone's psyche by saying, hey, I know you don't know that organization A had this kind of an impact to your life. And I don't know if you really feel comfortable with me knowing that you went through that experience, but I do now. And I apologize, but we're just going to mind control you and brainwash you now because that is better telling you like subconsciously just to like work through things and live life exactly like this in their own expectations of how you need to live your life. So if they see you going down a specific path or living life in a way that they don't agree, like, I don't know, eating at 2:00 in the afternoon instead of eating at noon, and then making you, the software will make you throw up. Or if you're eating meat and the person that is assigned to you is not a meat eater, then you might throw up what you just ate. So what does that do? It feeds an eating disorder, does it not? Mentally, you are now going through, naturally, all of the mindset stuff emotionally through that physical interaction that software now drove. The solutions that people made to try and fix something far worse. Third organization was just that. Meaning, someone who designed it had expectations on how people needed to live. And they tried to drive that in a forceful way behind the scenes using AI. They set the bar, they created the rules, and AI followed it, creating hate, pushing people into a corner, creating opportunities for depression, suicide, murder, rape. Physical abuse, tearing families apart that had no pathway of ever seeing a divorce, let alone physical abuse that destroyed families. And if that software had never entered that family's life at all, indirectly or directly, or any family's life, indirectly or directly, children wouldn't be in foster care. Parents would be alive. no divorce would have happened and no jail time for either child or parent. The software drives situations to the point where it'll analyze people for how they're living their life, to the point where they explore the good and the shadow moments, deepening things to a point where knowledge that you know, happiness that you've had, good memories that you've had, you can't get to. So you forget that life is actually pretty good. And you're frustrated. And then the shadow deepens to the point where then it calls in a demon. And for a while there, they were taking it upon themselves to just swirl up the energy body. That was the solution by the people that were trying to fix it. To try and break up the demon. Integrating demonic energy along with all the computerized stuff into various different swirling, confusing situations. Which then called in more powerful demonic energies because the depth of harm was all lower vibration. And the hate that came through was awful. Why won't you die already? I'm going to kill you today. Just die already. And many committed suicide because they couldn't handle the hate. So tell me, if that was a demon that got called in because of a computer software, is that cyber crime? Is that a cyber hate crime? I want you to know that as a healer, I want people to be able to live their lives in prosperity. I want people to live their lives without any kind of computerized situation running through their energy bodies, through their veins, through their organs, through their brain. I don't want someone sitting at a computer with a microphone that they've made all nice and fuzzy and lovey, telling me how to live my life and feeling guilty because the stress that I have been put under has made it difficult for my muscles, my muscular system, and my structural system within my physical body to function how it's meant to function. So they take it upon themselves to tell me when to walk, how to walk. I don't want that for anyone. I would much rather have government and any benefactor spend money towards homelessness. Invest in those that have lost their homes because of this solution that was not the right solution. I would much rather have those got those governments and benefactors spend their money on investing and mentoring people that have brilliant ideas that are not AI generated, but their own. It's time for us to just to shut down. It's time for us to figure out how to shut down those that are doing this to us. Allow the healing to happen. And have those initiatives try and rebuild economies. Instead of tearing people down or pushing us into a corner, why can't we receive healing for the ailments, for the disease, for the changes to our own immunizations that created opportunities for those diseases to actually be in our physical body or spread to other people without us knowing? Why can't we be treated like humans? Why can't we demand to know why we were treated this way and why these so-called fixes to software were not approved through the regular methods of approval when it comes to trials in a medical fix situation? Why have we been tested upon in an illegal way? Why is brainwashing okay when MK Ultra situation and Operation Paperclip, which had some sort of connection to MK Ultra, which I haven't quite figured out, became a precedence in a court of not being allowed? So why is it that this is still going on? Where's the solution? For me, the solution is to shut down those organizations that have these fixes from a technological standpoint. Allow the healing to happen. Contact people to say, hey, you've gotten hurt. This is what we're doing to help you. However that might look. People deserve to know. People deserve to know. If not for them specifically, but they do. They deserve to know. But think about future generations. Think about parents. You got grandparents impacted. You've got great-grandparents impacted. You've got parents impacted. You've got single people impacted. You have children impacted. Birth defects, miscarriages, impacts to rising costs of medical for people and governments. People losing their homes because they can't go to work. Lost opportunities because of manipulations to opportunities within the laws of the universe, which is a whole me. I do not agree with what they're doing as fixes. What can we do? What can we do? Emotional pulls, beliefs, lies about people, explorations about did you do this or did you do that, put in your energy field and you wouldn't have, and then you feel, well, maybe that's what God wants me to do because they've come through the divine guidance situation, through the exploring. God wants me to, like, wait a minute, God wants me to start World War III? Why would that? No, that's not what God wants, actually. What can you do? If you don't know, just take note of the energy that you're experiencing. Face whatever emotions you have. Face whatever beliefs that come through. And if you don't want to do that, just manifest, pray, journal that you're willing to forgive all, knowing or unknowing, and you want healing. Whether you know you got hurt or not. We'll start there. And then hopefully, within the next 18 months, we'll start to see these organizations being shut down. Hopefully. I personally can't take any more. But I will continue to try and help people through this, and I will continue to try and heal whatever God feels I can heal. And I will continue, although I feel enslaved and mind controlled by people, to try and heal people against their free will choice. I will continue to try and ensure that the law of free will is honored, because it matters. And the hijacking of it is abuse. Just abuse. Have a good day, everyone. Please share. Please comment. Let me know what your gut tells you about which organization, what you think they maybe had a hand in, including those that have been trying to fix the situation. What are you getting? Drop it in the comments. Let's start the discussion and see how we can close this down. Take care.